Hey everybody, I hope you guys had a great New Year's, and I hope you guys had a great Christmas. I want to talk to you a little bit about a fundraiser kickstart campaign that myself and Kalina are doing. We want to help a dear friend of mine who I've had for over 20 years, and this dear friend of mine has gone through a very terrible time this year, and in fact the last 20 years of his life have been difficult, but the last 2.5 years have been really difficult. I always believe that each person is destined for their own happiness if they're able to find it. My friend is looking for his happiness, and we're trying everything we can do to help him find his own self-love and self-worth. Many of you who might only watch my channeling might only know about the channeling itself, but my own history, I've had a very long fight with drug addiction in the past. For the last 8 or 9 years, I've been able to defeat that drug addiction, and I've been able to go on into channeling like I have publicly for the last 6 years. Me knowing that I can come out of that drug addiction and be able to find the greatest happiness in my life is something that I know each and every person can do. He's in the fight for his life right now, and we wanted to ask all of your help to help him reboot his life. Now, unfortunately, we weren't able to really dig too deep in the interview because where he's at right now at the Oakland house, he has to take special classes each day. He has to do NE each day. He has to do a lot of different things. He has 12 caseworkers working with him right now to get his disability online. You're going to find out more about that story as you go. So these are just the basics that I'm covering that we couldn't cover that day on the interview. So basically what we want to do is get Dale set up with his own apartment until his disability starts coming through. Now, one thing that many people will worry about right off the bat is we are not going to give money and financial donations to someone who has a drug addiction, who has a history of suicide. So I want to put all of you at ease who follow our work, who know, who trust and love myself and Kalina, that me and Kalina will be the conservators for this money. And the reason we're asking for $10,000 is because it could be 6 months to a year before Dale is able to get his disability going. The cheapest place so far that we found that doesn't have any kind of bills such as electricity, water, garbage, power is a place that charges almost $860 per month for a place to stay. And this is almost a hotel that's a weekly stay or a monthly stay. And so far this is the cheapest we can do. We'd like to get at least 6 months of rent available for him to have, plus $1,450 so that he's able to fix his truck. If any emergencies come, we also want to have money for that. But no money will go into Dale's hands. Myself and Kalina will be paying all of his bills for him, and we're going to do a lot to help him on his spiritual journey and work with him on the emotional and mental level. He's already started diving a little bit into the work, listening, finding out, and feeling if that's right for him. Regardless, what he needs, in my own opinion, my own perspective, and what worked for me is a loving group of people. That loving group of people can donate their love, their time, their energy, and their effort, and in this case, finances to help Dale reboot his life. By sending donations, you're showing him that someone cares, and right now, that is the part of his life that he is having the most trouble with. His family does not associate with him anymore because of all of the problems that he's had in his life. By giving donations, this will show him that you have your own energy and caring and love also, just in a different way. Facebook comments, once we get this started off, sharing that, all of those things will be really useful to show him he's not alone in the world. Myself and Kalina are the only two individuals who's been able to go to the hospital when he went there originally for his initial suicide attempt, and also been able to go there after in his Midway house that he's in now. Right now, he has either January 12th or 13th before they won't allow him to stay there anymore. Then he'll be on the street. We want to get him set up as soon as possible, so please share this around. If you have any questions, please contact myself or Kalina, and the information will be below to do that. We hope that he will be able to find his team's work paying off for him by getting into having his disability within 6 months, but it could be up to a year or more. We just want to get the bare minimum, 6 to 12 months, and enough money to fix his vehicle so he can go back and forth to AA meetings, NA meetings. Those are very essential for people who are first starting off on the drug rehab. He will be supported emotionally and mentally by myself and Kalina, and hopefully financially with all of your guys' help. Thank you so much. I hope you guys had a great Christmas and Happy New Year. Thanks. All right, so I'm here with Dale. Can you tell the people who don't know you what your name is?
Dale Cook.
All right, Dale, can you tell us a little bit about where you're at right now? We're here in a place called the Oakland House in Kalamazoo, Michigan. What's here and why are you here?
Well, I'm here for a lot of different reasons. This is a homeless shelter, 30-day stay. And like Rob said, why am I here? That's something we'll get into, I guess, right, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's start with this then. You were transferred here from a hospital in Kalamazoo for attempted suicide on the 20th of last month.
Yep.
Let's start there. Obviously, I know your story, but these people don't. You ended up taking about 90 methadone pills, and that's a huge amount. Anyone who might not know about methadone, the average person for pain or addiction usually take between 10 and 60 milligrams, and you took about 450 milligrams or so. So let us start there. What was the reason? What was the mindset? What was the emotions that you were going through before you took all that?
Well, we'll start with the day before was my birthday, November 19th. So, and that was a Saturday night.
How old did you turn?
I turned 43.
Okay.
And I was staying with a girl named, she's a paraplegic. That's where the methadone came from. Because I guess paraplegics or quadriplegics, they take them for nerve pain.
Okay.
Because she has like tremors. Anyway, I have a history of suicide. We went out for a drink. I didn't drink. I was the driver. We went out and she got pretty blitzed the night before. We came home and went to bed. I woke up the next day. I haven't been feeling good for a long time since my dad died. It'll be 2 years, January 3rd. This coming January 3rd, my dad died. And I haven't been feeling good at all about life at all in general. And anyway, I noticed that she was taking a pill. And I said, "What is that?" And she said, "It's methadone." Well, at the time I had a phone, so I Googled it when I went into the bathroom. And it pretty much, from what it said, if you Google methadone, it'll pretty much tell you it'll kill you. So I waited, and this is the 20th. I waited until she wheeled her wheelchair in to take a shower or something. And I took the bottle. And I hated, I'm not a thief, but I took the whole bottle and gave her a kiss because she's my friend, and I knew what I was going to do. So and there again, me and Rob have known each other close to 20 years. And we recently reconnected after a couple years of me being on suicide watch, pretty much. I mean, I broke almost every bone in my body in August of 2014 by driving into a tree. And I lived. I broke both hips and 3 out of 4 limbs and 7 ribs.
That was intentional that you drove into the tree, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And a lot of this stems from, and anyway, I don't know how many methadone I took. I mean, it was a lot. I mean, they're very small pills, but I mean, I filled my mouth up twice.
Yeah. She said there were 90, so.
Okay.
Right.
Because they kept asking me in the hospital, "How many pills did you take?" Well, I don't know. I didn't count them.
Right.
But, and I went to a buddy's who I knew wouldn't be there that night and pulled into his yard, called Rob. And I wasn't calling Rob to really like make him feel horrible. I just wanted to talk to somebody while I was dying. That's pretty much it. And I took them all. I apparently, from what I understand, I pretty much was close to death. Timmy, a guy who's my friend, he come out of his trailer and apparently found me. So anyway, a long story short, he called the ambulance. They saved my life, I guess. I woke up in Borges in ICU. I don't know how long was I there, a week and a half?
Yeah.
In ICU at least, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, and when I woke up, I see my buddy Rob, and it made me feel good, but I'll tell you, I'm still pissed that I lived. That ain't no shit.
I know. And being there, I was with you for quite a few of those days you were in there, and I saw that the first couple days you couldn't even get to sleep without stopping breathing. The pills had taken effect of your lungs so badly. That's usually what kills people. Our old friend Corey, that's how he died, taking methadone. Before this, you never really took methadone, though, before having
Oh, no, I never.
You never took pain pills, anything like that?
No, the only thing I ever really did was smoke marijuana and do methamphetamine.
Now, that's something that's important, too. How long were you using meth, and how frequently?
Well, that changed here and there with money. I've used meth I'm 43. I've used meth for over 20 years.
Ever since I've known you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And when I met Rob, I mean, he's not a kid. I mean, I'm 43. How old are you?
36.
Okay, 36. So he wasn't really a kid. It seemed like he was, though, then.
I was a punk kid.
Well, I mean, I was in my 20s,
Right.
so that meant you were in your late teens.
Yeah, I think we were 15.
Yep.
I was 15 when we met. Yeah.
Yep. And I was using meth then, and I always worked. I've owned 2 houses. I've had kind of 2 families. I raised a daughter, and I used meth. So I was a successful meth head.
Yeah.
If you could
You
call
were
it.
a functioning addict.
Yes.
Right.
For years. And then after I got married again in 08 to Jody. And she's a great gal. And we moved in with my father, who was, I don't want to say he was terminally ill with cancer or anything. He had narcolepsy, epilepsy. Actually, if you want to look it up, he had narcolepsy, cataplexy. And he had epilepsy, he had Alzheimer's, and he had heart problems for years because he was a smoker. And he was an educated man, though. He's got the same birthday as Rob.
Yeah.
January 4th.
Capricorn.
Yep. Taking care of him. When I met Jody in 06. And she had a good job. I was working too. And then after she met my dad, and I was living with my dad at the time when I met her, and she started coming over to the lake house, and she's like, what is going on over here? Because there was just all sorts of bullshit going on. I mean, my dad was starting fires from the narcolepsy.
Yeah.
And
I remember he would fall asleep while he was eating, smoking, everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the narcolepsy was killing him because he wasn't hitting REM sleep. It was just slowly, and then it really intensified the dementia. Where he knew who I was, he knew who Rob was.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that quite as bad, but I mean, he always thought somebody was stealing from him. He always thought somebody was all sorts of stuff. Well, anyway, Jody and me got married in 08, and she said to me, because she could see how bad my dad was getting, she said, let's get married. And she could see my depression too. She said, and some of that was drug abuse, though. I'm not going to lie about that.
Sure.
And she said, let's get married so that I have insurance, and you quit your job and you take care of your father, because she had a good job. So I redid the basement into an apartment, and we moved in 08. Well, the best and the worst thing I ever did. it ended up going all the way from '08 till 13 is when I stopped taking care of my father. But really almost 14. But it was closer, or it was really 13. Anyway, I was taking care of him. I was doing a good job, I thought. And we love each other, me and my dad. We became close. And my drug abuse just became rampant. I mean, it was meth. I mean, nothing messes you up more than meth. I've never done heroin, but I've heard heroin does too. But
what's I mean, for people who never went through drug abuse or went through experimenting with drug, what was the fundamental difference in your behavior when you first moved in compared to at the end? I mean, how were your emotion, your thinking? How did it become so different you decided to stop staying there, stop taking care of your dad?
Well, he got, he went from, as you can see, I'm sitting here like a normal human being talking. He went from this in 06, 07, 08, when I got my first divorce in 03, I moved back in there. So from 03 all the way up till 13, he got so bad, he started attacking me because of his Alzheimer's. Not every day. When we'd get, and I'm his caretaker. And he started attacking me because I was like his wife too. You know what I mean, Rob?
Sure.
Because we were together every day.
Sure.
And the drug use became rampant. It was, I'd find any way to get what I needed, just to get by. Like an alcoholic gets through their day by drinking. It was like that. And I still took care of my dad, took him hunting, took him fishing, did all that stuff. And I, I'm glad I did all that. I really am. I mean, I may have been a drug addict during it, but I did it.
Yeah.
More than my brother could say.
Well, it's a hard thing watching your
And now I know, Rob, why they have classes for people that take care of patients, like Alzheimer's patients,
right?
Or support groups. That's what I was looking for. Now I know why they do that. I never knew. I mean, I never knew that it would affect me that way. Seeing my dad go from a normal human being to somebody, I don't want to say he wasn't able to wipe his butt. I don't want to lie. But to somebody that it was hard to even call dad anymore. I mean, it wasn't I still loved him. But I mean, I'd look at him and he's like a little baby, compared to a man like me or Rob right now. I had to cook for him. I cleaned for him. I mean, there was so many incidences where he would do odd and weird stuff. I don't even really want to talk about it. I'll bawl my eyes out.
And that's, it gives us an idea of where you're at. So after you quit taking care of your dad,
Jody wanted a divorce. When he started attacking me, it wasn't every day, but he started attacking me frequently. Because whenever he didn't want to do something, and I said, Dad, we got, like go to a doctor's appointment and stuff like that. I'd say, Dad, you have to, or your prescriptions are cut off.
right?
And he'd tell me, F you, and here he comes running, or not running, but here he comes swinging at me. So anyway, Jody never seen that kind of violence, and
scared her.
Yes, and also my drug use to become rampant, and she always knew I was a good guy, and I still am a good guy, but I don't blame the lady at all.
Did she know about your drug abuse throughout the relationship?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so she knew about it.
She knew about it before she met, or when she met me.
I see. So it wasn't so much that you were using drugs, is that in her mind it became out of control.
Yes.
In your mind, was it out of control, or did you feel like you had it all taken care of then?
I felt like I had it all taken care of.
It's a common thing. And for those of you who have never watched my own story, you can go look at the interview with Ed with Ruben Langdon and watch the entire interview. But I was addicted to prescription pain meds from an accident, and it continued on for almost a decade at least. Me and you, we used to party together. We used to get high together.
Had a lot of good laughs, but you know what? I mean, well, buddy.
We did. We had some wild times for sure.
But we were both on different kind of drugs, so.
That's a story I told Kalina that made her laugh because she's never done drugs. She's never really knows the drug lifestyle. But I said me and Dale remain successful friends because we didn't do the same kind of drugs.
Right. He wasn't all over mine and I wasn't all over his.
That made it a successful relationship. And the quality of hanging out with each other, we had the same kind of sense of humor and understood each other real well.
Quick-witted.
Yeah, very quick-witted.
When I met Robbie, he's so quick-witted, I was like, man, is this guy for real?
So you get...
So I moved out.
So you move out.
With Jody.
Right, and you and Jody at this point are over, correct?
Well, no. We both move out because of my dad, because of my father attacking me.
Right.
And other things, you know. She wasn't used to the violence. She wasn't used to the cussing matches. Right. And anyway, we move out. We get an apartment for a year. And then we buy a house over in Vicksburg. And all of a sudden she wants a divorce. Well, I move back with my dad. And which now he's being taken care of by my Uncle Tom. Thanks, Uncle Tom. And, you know, the drugs were still there. I missed Jody. My dad, from taking care of him for so long, just took its effect. And that was 2014. It was opening day of bass season when Jody asked for a divorce. So that was May 21st, 2014. And come August, I was trying to repair my relationship with Jody. I'm still taking care of my dad. Then I don't have a job. I lost my job. Because I had gotten a job at Napa delivering parts. And on August 5th, 2014, I decided it was done. So I jumped in my truck. I don't even know if Rob's heard this, have you?
Not fully, no.
Okay. It was actually August 4th, but I mean, when I drove into the tree, it was August 5th, so it was after midnight. But I jumped in my truck August 4th about, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock. And Rob, I really want you to hear this. And I don't lie, I probably cry a little bit. But.
That's all right. This is one thing that I do know about Dale is as much as we've had crazy times and had some questionable parts of our character when we were on drugs, Dale's never lied to me about anything.
No, I don't have nothing to lie about.
Right.
So anyway, I jumped in my S10, and I had already said my goodbyes to a lot of my friends who I was running around with as dopers. They were all dopers. So I had figured out that I was going to asphyxiate myself with the truck with a hose coming into my window. So I went out, and there was corn standing. In August, there's corn standing. So I went out to a hunting place where I go hunting and drove 3/4 of the way around that field so no one would find me. I didn't want to be found. I wanted to be found rotted. That's the honest to God truth. And I hooked it all up. And I'm going to make a little bit of a funny here. I don't know why I didn't die. I sat there and all I did is smoke marijuana that night. I sat there for over 3 hours, Rob.
Wow.
Almost, at least 2.5. You know, and it was a small S10, so it didn't even have the king cab.
Right.
And Rob, I I was getting queasy, but I just sat there and sat there and sat there. And that was my follow-up plan was, after a while, I just was pissed.
Right.
So I just put the truck in because it was running. I put it in reverse and took off. Well, I was on the other side of Vicksburg, and I turned around, drove from there at about 100 miles per hour, and I drove into the tree in front of Jody's house.
Ooh.
Oh, you didn't know that, did you?
No.
Oh.
I knew that you hit a tree, and that was
Yeah,
it.
I drove into a tree probably 4-foot diameter. It was in my ex-wife's front yard,
So
and
it
I
was
drove
a
into.
huge tree.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and the truck lost 2 feet in length because what I did is I went by, and this was my follow-up plan, and I never thought I was going to need it. You know what I mean? I thought the asphyxiation from the gases would kill me because you hear about people going in their garage
Right.
and turning the car on and accidentally
Right.
once in a while
Right.
asphyxiating themselves. So, I mean, when it didn't work after 2.5 hours, that was my backup plan. So anyway, I went by her house. She was sleeping. This is, every bit of 1 a.m, maybe 2. I went by, turned around, and of course I didn't have a seatbelt on. And here I come. And I can remember, I looked down at the speedometer just before I can remember that tree from here to there, Rob, at 62.
Oh, wow.
At 62 miles per hour, I looked down, and I was doing 62 miles per hour. And I drove into the tree. Anyway, I broke my right ankle. I've had 4 surgeries on my knee, broke both hips, 7 ribs, my right wrist in 5 places, and my left forearm in 2 places. And lived. The weird part about it is apparent, and this is the truth, but Mike and Steve, who are dope friends, not no more, they ain't my friends no more because I don't do dope, but they had passed me. When I went past Jody's and turned around and start coming back toward the tree, they were coming, and my S10, they know an S10, and they were looking for me because they knew something was wrong because I wasn't around.
Right.
And they're the ones that found me.
Oh.
And I was wide awake. I mean, nothing hurt, and I'm not trying to be a tough guy. I was in shock.
Right.
And the airbag is what saved my life. That right there, that's the only thing that happened. It split my nose. The airbag.
Otherwise, yeah, without that, you would have.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it crushed me. It broke both hips. I mean, it would, and the pain. Don't ever break a hip. I'm not lying. I mean, oh my gosh, Rob.
That was brutal.
Oh.
How long did you stay in the hospital after that when you recovered? First of all, when you woke up, you were probably
Pissed.
very mad, yeah?
I woke up in Bronson. They kept me sedated for a few days because they had to do all these surgeries. I think they did 3 separate surgeries on all of this. Because I'm sure, I don't know if they did both hips in one day.
Right.
I couldn't tell you. They pinned me back together. I mean, I'm full of pins.
Right.
And before that, I've never been in the hospital. Never once. I mean, I've never broke a bone except my right ankle on a dirt bike before this. So, I mean, it was something.
Right.
But anyway, Rob asked me how long I went in the hospital, and then the only place in Michigan that can deal with somebody like me with mental, the suicide ideations and all them broken bones is Grand Rapids, St. Mary's.
Oh, okay.
So they shipped me there, and I refer to it funny as the Nut Hut. Well, no, because I mean that's what it is. It's for people that with depression, but then I was so broken up, they had to have the hospital equipment to take care of me.
Right.
I mean, I didn't. And anyway, that was. I think I was at Bronson 6 or 7 days, and then they shipped me there, and I never came home until December 19th.
Wow.
And, but that ain't, well, actually, no, I did come home for 4 days, but I got gangrene in my knee.
So you had to go right back.
Well, I had to go to an old folks home in Coldwater. They hooked me up to a port to my heart with antibiotics for 45 days. That's not the law. That's the way it is.
Right.
So because if gangrene comes back, it can take your limb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because after I came home, so then I went to Mary Free Bed after St. Mary's on the fifth or sixth floor up there. And then they transferred me to Mary Free Bed to be able to do all the things that you do. Eat, learn to walk. Well, no, I didn't learn to walk again until I still come home in a wheelchair because they had to keep me off my feet for 3 months.
So you couldn't even walk at this point. And
no,
from talking to your friend Leslie, she said that you were in a wheelchair for almost a year after that, weren't you? 8 months, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I went from that to a walker, then a cane. And now I walk. I mean, I can still moonwalk.
Yeah. With the fancy hat on, too.
Yeah.
So what's... After this, after the wheelchair, did you go right back into drug use? Were you taking drugs while you were healing from that crash?
Yes. It wasn't like it was before.
Right. It wasn't a daily...
Because I was in a wheelchair and I couldn't get anywhere. Right. So I had to wait for them.
Right. I see. So it was a reduction, not by choice, but by circumstance.
Yep.
So from that period, now this is before or after your father passed?
Well, I got out of the crappy part about it is when I got out and then got gangrene, they threw me back in the hospital, ripped my knee open, redid it again, because it's been done 4 times. And they finally put in a plastic knee because they couldn't save the kneecap because it was been 5 places and Dr. Roberts kept trying to save it.
I see.
But he couldn't. So anyway, they rip it open. He redoes it, gets the gangrene gone. They port me. They put me in Coldwater in an old folks home from middle November. Well, I had to be there 45 days. So I didn't get home till December 19th. When I got home, my father was in Borges having heart problems.
I see.
But I mean, I went to his house. The home was his place. So they got me, and I lied and said he was there and shit. I did.
Right.
Because they didn't want me to go there alone.
Right.
Because I'm in a wheelchair and they're afraid I'm not going to be able to eat.
Right.
Right. So anyway, my dad comes home from the hospital on January 2nd, 2015. Finally. So I haven't seen him for 11, 12, 13 days. Only talked to him on the phone. And he comes home and they put him on morphine. Well, my dad, like I said, with all his medical problems, they must have cross-referenced it, but it didn't work. He was seeing things. Well, anyway, I was in a wheelchair, so I had a hospital bed at the time in the house. They delivered one. And I went to bed. I gave him his morphine. And at 2 or 3 in the morning, I had to transfer into my bed. I transferred into my bed and went to sleep. I woke up at 11 in the morning, transferred into my wheelchair, and I rolled by my dad. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, what in the heck is going on? He's stark naked. Yeah, sitting on the couch. Well, and I just knew from my dad attacking me before that he'd attack me in the wheelchair. So I just knew not to say anything. I mean, it's his house. If he wants to walk around naked, let him.
Sure.
So I went in and started making toast. Long story short, my dad came from behind me, went into the bathroom, jumped out the window, ran along the back side of the neighbor's house, which he has heart problems. So he ended up dying of overexertion of his heart. Ran along the back side of the house, and he beat on some doors like this. Boom, boom, boom. The neighbors heard him. He continued down the back of the house, went up, busted through the garage door, then not busted through the next door, but opened the next door leading from the garage to the house that were connected.
Right.
And fell down on the kitchen floor, and he's naked too. And Lisa was the neighbor. And he died in her arms. And he said to her, because the morphine he was hallucinating, Dale is trying to kill me.
Oh, my God.
Shoot me. Kill me. Well, it registers in her mind. She hears the boom, boom, boom.
And thought it was a gun.
Yes.
I see.
So here I'm probably by now, when he died, I'm done eating my toast.
Right.
But my brother calls, and I go, hello? And he goes, what the hell's going on over there? So Boone, my brother Dan, he goes, Dale, what the hell's going on over there? And I go, what do you mean? And I didn't even know my dad had jumped out the window.
Right.
And he goes, well, the cops are coming. You better be ready. And I go, for what? Where's Dad? I said, he's in the bathroom. Well, anyway, by then, the cops of the SWAT and everything, I mean, I'm not lying, man. They came heavy because I supposedly killed somebody.
Right.
And, or shot at somebody. Right. He wasn't shot. So Lisa knew he wasn't shot. But anyway, they come in, they kick the one door in, and they came in, and, I had to go, they arrested me. I got out that night, no big deal. They did gunshot residue test. I passed.
Right.
I didn't shoot at my dad. But the whole shitty part about that is I spent 3 or 4 hours down there getting questioned by the detectives. And they're waiting for the gunshot residue test to come back.
Right.
And questioning me. And my dad was already dead. Never knew that. I kept asking him.
They never told
No.
you.
Because I was a suspect.
Yeah.
And finally, after I passed the gun, I'm sure that's why. And the questioning I passed.
Sure.
They said, sorry, Mr. Cook, you're dead. So that meant my dad, this was 3 or 4 of the day. My dad, he died had to be about 11:30 in the morning at 12. But he died a day before his birthday, day before Rob's birthday.
Yeah. That's,
so
that was a tough experience.
Oh, buddy. So ever since my dad left, I want to leave. You want to know the truth?
And that
is the truth.
I know. And that's been one of the huge source of contention. I know the divorce was another.
Yep.
That's what caused you the initial suicide.
Yep. And I mean, I just want out.
I know.
And I'm trying to come back, and
you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing.
I'm here at this place isn't too bad. I mean, this homeless shelter. I mean, it's somewhere to go. It's so cold out right now, but I mean, I got family, and none of them want me around. So
was that caused from maybe burning your bridges through the drug use?
Yeah.
And that's, something that happened to me too. My family would communicate with me, but if I asked for any help, it was no. You gotta help yourself, which is true. The one thing I realized when I was going through the same thing is that being loved by others, being supported by others who wanted to see you do good, who would help you as long as you were trying to do good, that's what really helped the emotional support for me. And the community that me and Kalina have has been really great about sending out prayers, love, all of that energy. So, a lot of people will say this guy didn't want to live. He sounds like he's still questioning that. He's been through drugs a lot of time. Do you really, really want to try to make your life work out this time? I mean, do you really want to make it through? So what would you tell someone who says, well, I want to help people, I want to support people, but it's hard for me to do that unless I know? I mean, can you tell everyone where your state of mind is now about wanting to really?
I'd like to prove everybody wrong and go on living. I mean, my reputation right now is because about a month ago I was in the ICU with a suicide attempt, and my family has not been there for me, and it's because of me. I don't blame them.
Sure.
That
was one of my strongest motivations.
To get clean?
At very first, everyone told me I couldn't. They told me I was worthless. They said, you're never going to amount to nothing. I said, you know what? I'll show you. That morphed into a lot of different things. So it's a journey, bud. I just want to let you know I'm here for it. I want to let you know these people who are here in our community, all the ones who are going to help support. You know, I know you suck with technology, but you should get on Facebook and join some of the groups. There's a lot of good support out there on Facebook and a lot of other groups. But I want to thank you for sharing, but I know it's hard to talk about these things that are extremely still sensitive. So thank you, bud.
I love you, buddy. I love you. Love you, Kalina. Love you, Pudge.
All right, bud.
If anybody doesn't know, Pudge is...
That's my bubby guy. That's the one you guys hear of, my son who's handicapped. He's... Uncle Dale and him have a close relationship. We're going to wrap this up because Dale's got to go do his thing. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Okay.